Local 12 exclusive. A former leader of a hate group with ties to Cincinnati denies he took part in the riot at the U.S. Capitol, but social media continues to claim he was there.
And tonight, chief investigative reporter Duane goes right to the source and sorts through the facts to reveal some surprising answers.
The images of the deadly siege at the U.S. Capitol are seared into our memories. So are the faces. In the midst of all this chaos, one familiar face began to be connected with this insurrection. Matthew Heimbach, a nationally known white separatist and neo-Nazi with ties to Cincinnati. Heimbach was identified in this tweet by attorney L. Lynn Wood. I've tracked Heimbach for years, covering the moment in 2016 when he pushed an African-American woman at a Trump rally, and interviewing him in 2017, hours after he helped organize the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville that led to a death.
Anything that happened was self-defense.
So the claim that Heimbach was part of an insurrection at the U.S. Capitol made sense. Or did it? I drove 4 hours to ask him.
You weren't at the Capitol.
Nope.
You weren't in D.C.
Nope.
Despite his denial, photos of Heimbach saturated social media, even labeling him as the man behind this mask inside the Capitol. Some national media followed suit too, naming him in articles. Surprisingly, Heimbach says, I was the only reporter who called to ask him.
Well, you actually reached out.
And what did I ask you?
Well, was I there?
And
Which no one else did before they decided to run with the story.
I'm the only one.
The only one. Literally the only journalist that actually reached out to me to ask before they published the story and said, hey, did you try to overthrow the government?
It turns out Heimbach is no longer a leader of a hate group.
I'm not involved in the white nationalist movement, haven't been for over a year, and that was my own choice.
You've actually renounced that.
Yep.
And he says he stopped supporting Donald Trump, too.
So you're anti-Trump?
Anti-Trump, 100%.
Chanting to kill us, stabbing us, throwing bleach.
Whatever you think about him, even Matthew Heimbach can change.
Yeah, my politics have shifted.
Now it's clear Heimbach did not storm the Capitol. Accusing him of doing that is just plain wrong.
By the way, the man in the mask who people claimed was Heimbach was arrested by the FBI last week. It turns out he's a pizza employee from Massachusetts. Heimbach is now debating whether to file lawsuits against news outlets that named him, Kyle.
Interesting story there, Duane. I'm going to admit, I was a little surprised to hear him say that he's now renounced white separatism and he stepped down as the leader of this hate group. So a lot of people wondering, myself included here, we've talked about this, is that really all behind him?
Right. It really is startling, but by all accounts, he has moved on here. It's even more stunning. Listen to this. He's doing something now that no one expected. He wants to work with groups like Black Lives Matter and says his political views have actually shifted from fascism to socialism. He says his politics are now to the left of Bernie Sanders. I'm going to go deeper on all of that. I have an exclusive report renouncing hate. It's right here on Local 12 News tomorrow night at 11. I'll see you then for that one.